Okay, guys. I've been told to record a segment about why I do not own a horse. I don't own a horse because, well, I don't own Skippa because she keeps going lame mainly. Oh, yeah. My cat's being a weenie. Yeah. So I don't own her because one, she's getting kind of old, and two, my mom won't let her. Won't let me. As you guys can see, I'm tongue twisted. And three, she keeps going lame, and my mom's afraid that if we buy her and she goes lame, I won't have a horse to ride. So I don't know what else she wants me to do. Like, I think she's for sale. Not really fair, is it? But I don't really have any other reason why. Oh yeah, my mom says I can't get out there every day. I'm like, I don't need to be out there every day. That's it.
Hey guys, and what's going on? So today, me and Allie are gonna talk about why we don't own horses. I am sitting on a yoga ball that's falling. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. Better. Okay, so Allie brought up some good reasons, and then pretty kitty, come here. Roar! Here you go. Anyway, so we're gonna be bringing up. You're ruining the shot. No, I don't want you in here. No. Kitten love. Okay. There. Really? Now you're hogging the camera.
Nope, stay.
Okay.
You're hogging it.
So we're gonna do a video about why we don't own horses, because a lot of people like online have been DMing us, and sometimes in our comments being like, petting my cat by the way, being like, you guys should own horses. Do you guys own your horses? What's the situation on you guys owning horses? So we're just here to kind of clear that up, and all that. So first reason why, well, I don't own horses. Allie has her own reason, which I'll put the clip after this one. But first reason I don't own horses is horses are expensive. And I know you guys are like, oh yeah, they're expensive. No, they're very expensive. Like when I was going into buying a horse, we were actually going to buy a horse. So when I was going into buying a horse, I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. Oh, this isn't that bad. And then oh, I have sour cream dip right there. We're going to pretend that they didn't exist. But and then you go, because people are telling you, oh, it's not that bad, oh, it's not that bad. And then they have a full-time job, and you're like, oh, it is that bad. So, I have a job, but they do not pay me enough to own a horse. So, yeah. Really? Really? Oh, right here. Don't own a horse. So one, they're expensive. I had people whispering in my ear saying, oh, they're not this expensive, oh this, oh that. They're expensive. And from what I've seen so far, I have not seen the prettiest thing. So what I've seen so far is bad. That was not an invitation.
Really
sit
bad.
there. I've seen horse fracture their legs. I've seen horse had to get full shoes. I've seen horses have back problems, And it's just it's not at fault of the seller either, unless the seller, doesn't know. It's not a fault of the seller. If the seller knows and is not telling you, and they don't tell you at all if your horse has a fractured leg, then it is a fault of the seller. But a lot of these things were not a fault of the seller. So that's the first thing is and then my next thing is I haven't found a horse that I am in love with, Like, yeah, of course I love Moon, and, I love Valley Girl, but I haven't found one that's like, okay, this is my end-all be-all horse. And, like, some people just never find it, and that's just, you have to roll with it, And another thing is, you have to think about what's going to happen to the horse if you can't afford it. So, like, if you go and you're like, okay, I'm going to the SPCA, I want to rescue a horse. But I'm just playing with this the entire time. But, like, let's say you went to the SPCA, you got a 20-year-old horse, which good for you, because nobody wants the old ones. But then, your mom or your dad loses your job, or you lose your job. What's going to happen to the horse? Nobody wants to buy a 20-year-old horse that has, like, arthritis. What's going to happen to him? And I think a lot of people don't think about it. That's why, like, I hate to say this, because there's so many older horses that need homes. But if you do not have, like, a stable work environment, or your parents don't, or whoever's paying for your horse doesn't, don't buy a horse. First of all, and if you decide that you're going to buy a horse and be stupid, buy a horse that you can flip and sell easy. So am I saying that you need to buy a $15,000 horse? No. But the younger, 4 and up is usually where people look. And the better that they're trained, the better. So spend more time with your horse, trying to sell, go on Equine Now or pages like that. Don't post on Craigslist. You get sketchy people coming in. But, and that's like another thing is be prepared to always sell your horse. Because if something happens, you're not going to be able to keep the horse. The horse is the first thing that's going to go if something big happens. And a lot of kids that come in here, lesson kids that come in here and their parents bought them a pony. And these kids, like, don't know how to ride. They're coming in with their horse in tow. And then they, they get bucked off and they don't want to ride anymore. And that horse is like 1,000,000 years old. What's going to happen to the horse? Those horses usually end up going to slaughter. At the end of the day. That's what happens. So, yeah. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is, oh my god, this is such a long, video. The third thing is, kind of like what Allie said with Skippa and, the lameness, is, the vet expenses, especially where we live, are so expensive. They're just so expensive. And there's no need for them to be this expensive, but they are. I'm going to put in, explanation. So my tortoise, I have 2 tortoises, if you didn't know. They got URI, upper respiratory infection. And that's the most common thing that could ever happen to a tortoise in, sicknesses, okay? The vet charged us $400 for an exam. That we didn't even do the x-ray because we already knew what it was. But it was $400 for an exam. An exam. So if you think about that and then put that to... And my tortoise is this big. About this big. He's not a big thing. And then, so if you put that to a horse compared to that size of the tortoise to the horse, and let's say the horse, gets a small colic, imagine how big that vet bill is going to be. Just imagine. So I just think whenever people buy horses, they don't think about, if the horse needs a chiropractor, if the horse needs shoes, if the horse needs to get its feet trimmed extra, if the horse needs to get its teeth trimmed extra. They don't think about that. And they don't have money to fall back on. You should always, I always say this to all the lesson kids that want to buy horses and all their parents. If you're going to buy a horse, have at least $3,000 for fallback money. And I don't mean in your bank account, in your credit card or whatever. I don't mean that. I mean in savings. Your horse needs to have his own saving account and needs to have $3,000 or more in it. Because that'll get you out of some vet bills, and it won't pay for everything, because believe me, vet bills are expensive. Will not pay for everything. But it'll pay for enough to where you can, because some vets do this where they lock your horse away from you until you pay off the vet bill. So it'll at least get your horse out of jail for a little bit. So, and that's just, I always find students that are like, hey, I need to sell my horse. And I'm like, why? And they're like, we can't afford it. And I was like, great. And then the horse has to suffer because you guys didn't think about it. So, yeah. And that's just mostly, that sounds more like a rant, but that's why I don't want to buy horses, because I just don't want to put a horse in that situation, I don't want to be responsible right now. It doesn't make any sense for me to be responsible for a living being. That's not, that's huge, that I cannot afford. I hate whenever people live beyond their means. You know? They use credit cards for everything. You know, all of that. That's going to catch up in the end. You know? And I don't think they think about it like that, but it is. So, that's the whole spiel on horses and buying. And if you want me to do like a why you shouldn't buy a horse video, I can link that down below. Honestly, I'm going to be very honest. When I was buying a horse, I avoided those types of videos, so I'll probably have to use a clickbaity title. Not like total clickbait, but like a baity title. Because if I be like, why not to buy a horse, then people be like, oh, I don't want to watch that. But they won't learn. And I've learned from seeing other people's mistakes, from almost making a mistake. So, like, we almost bought a horse, and then like a couple months later, my dad lost his job. What would have happened to the horse? Exactly. And another thing is, I hate whenever children, this is turning into a rant, I hate whenever children waltz up, pretend this is a credit card, with daddy's credit card, and are like, oh my god, my daddy bought me a horse, like, good for you. What are you doing to help your parents? Are you doing extra chores? Are you picking up feeding jobs at the barn? Are you doing anything? No, you're sitting there on the horse while your parents are paying for it. That's like another thing, a whole thing with that is, I'm paying for my own horse. I buy a horse, it's mine. My problem if the horse gets sick, you know, I have to find a place to board the horse. Not saying the barn, like I'm at, I would probably board there, but like, you know, I have to find a place to board the horse if the barn's full, you know, all these things that people don't think about. And it's like, why wouldn't you think about that? You know? And another thing is, whenever these parents buy these kids horses, the kid doesn't know anything about the horses, you know? Especially if they've only been riding for a couple months. Yeah, I've seen that. A kid rode for 2 months and bought a horse. So it's like, you know, what are you going to do when your kid doesn't know what's happening with your horse and you have to call a vet out and because your horse got a nice scratch on his leg and you end up paying $500 in a vet bill when you could just get some, like, petroleum jelly and just put it on it that way and it's free. Well, almost free. It's like, what, 99 cents? You know, and that's another thing is, everyone calls a vet out for everything. Someone called a vet out for a girth sore. A girth sore. It was this big. Just because they didn't know any better. You know? You could put some petroleum jelly, some Neosporin, you know, fix it up, clean it out, keep it nice and clean, don't ride with a girth. Your horse will be fine within a couple of days. Maybe weeks if the horse takes long to heal. But they called out a vet, $550. It's like, why would you do that? So, that's the whole spiel on why I don't own a horse. And then Allie's whole spiel is different. But, you know, we're two different people. And we have two different situations, you know? And everyone has their own situation. Like, it's like, I don't want to be, like, a mean person. Like, it's totally fine if you have daddy's credit card and your parents paying for everything. Use that. But what I'm saying is, like, when you have little kids coming in here, you should make the little kid do something to be able to have the horse. Like, chores at home, maybe. Or, you know, something like that. Just because I feel like if the kid gets the horse for free, you know what I mean? Then the kid's not learning anything, you know? He's not learning that he or she has to work for what they want or anything like that. They're not learning that. What they're learning is mommy and daddy will pay for everything. So, I can get into a whole rant about why not to buy a horse. So, if you want to see that, just comment that down below or like this video or whatever you do to show support on the video. And this is not meant to, like, shade or offend anybody. Like, it's totally fine if you do it how you do it. I do it how I do it. Allie can do it how she does it. And then, you know, so. And then, like, another thing is, I'm just going to keep adding on. Since my brother rides, too, I'd have to find a horse for me and my brother. So, Valley Girl is not the horse, you know? She loves hanging out. She's a great horse. Like, I love that horse so much. But she's not the right horse for him right now. He's just not advanced enough to ride her. Especially since she bucks and all of that. Because she's young and crazy. So, it just wouldn't be smart. Yeah. This is the whole spiel. It's probably going to be it towards the end of the video, actually. Because we don't want to cut off Allie's video. And make you guys just... So, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's it. I think I'm just gonna leave off there. But if you want to see like a video about like why you shouldn't own horses, like comment that down below. Because like, you know, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't think about. And you know, it just sucks because I've seen it so many times and I'm like, oop, saw that coming, oop, saw that coming. So, yeah. So if you like this video, on the notification bell to be